want to know, Mr. Horner, why is it that you did not try to telephone Mr. and Mrs. Silva or Mr. Silva and say, I have a summons that has to be served?
I never do that.
Why not?
Because approximately 50% of the people would avoid service.
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Horner. When you were given the summons to serve Mr. Silva, the summons of necessity had to describe.
Thank you. Uh-oh. Okay. Thank you.
Reservations agent Rosemary Harris is suing her son's former common-law wife, 25-year-old customer service rep Rebecca Cardisco, for a series of unpaid loans. Rebecca says the money was meant for her children's Christmas gifts.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 193 on the calendar in the matter of Harris versus Cardisco.
Thank you, Bird.
Quite welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Miss Harris, is this your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this the son that has 2 children with this lady?
Yes, ma'am.
It is your claim that the defendant owes you some money for a series of loans. She and your son, I assume, lived together or were together for a period of time because, according to what I've read, they have 2 children together.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are your grandchildren?
3 and 1. And John also has 2 stepsons, which were Rebecca's children.
Well, they were never married.
No, but he has custody of them.
He has custody of her 2 children that are not his biological children.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have custody of all 4 children. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
What is wrong with you? Shh, quiet.
We're going through custody right now.
No. I could understand when you have a custody dispute involving parents, 2 biological parents, judge has to weigh what's in a child's best interest. But when a judge, unless the judge is educated on Jupiter, gives non-biological children to not even a step-parent, because the 2 of you were never married, to somebody else, there has to be something wrong with you. Do you have a drug problem, an alcohol problem?
I did, Your Honor. I did have a drug problem, and he doesn't have full custody of the children. It's going through social services.
Well, but who do they live with 5 days a week?
Right now, him.
Fine. So, and they go to school from his house?
Yes.
So right now he has custody?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you in a drug program?
Yes, I am.
Did you go into a residential program?
When I get back in town, I am.
So you are not now in a residential drug
No,
program?
but I'm in outpatient program right now.
How long were you using drugs?
For 3 years. After I had my daughter, I got in a car wreck and had a lot of back problems.
Oh, everybody has back problems. But not everybody becomes addicted to drugs. Okay. Tell me about the loans.
Okay, basically met Becky in March of '98 when she was living with her another boyfriend in the same complex we did. They broke up and she needed a place to stay, and she finagled her way into my house and lived with us for a couple months, and then her and John started a relationship. Then the first grandchild was born in 9 of '99, and from that point on, it started being just a big con. Every couple months, every couple weeks, she needed this or needed that or needed help with this. Then they broke up for a while, and she had her own apartment and would hold the baby almost hostage. If you want to see your granddaughter, you'll give me this. She had a car wreck in 11 of '99, and that's when she got her back hurt and started taking Vicodin and Zoma and got addicted to them. And then she got pregnant again with my second granddaughter and had her
Also no testament to his good judgment.
Yes.
Okay.
And she was born in March of 2001.
Now, when she lived with you, she also lived with you with her other 2 children.
Yes, ma'am. I supported her and her 2 children then. And then, after the second baby was born, she really got deep into the drugs. She, at one point, had 8 drug felonies on her. 2 of them were where she used my name to get the drugs. And she was actually able to con her way out of those charges. She got something called drug court, where she gets to go in and talk to somebody once a week. And
At what point did they remove the children?
in May of this year,
Were either of the girls born with any sort of drugs in their system?
no, ma'am.
Were either of them tested?
No, ma'am. So there's no way to know for sure.
Where does your son live now, Miss Harris?
My son lives in Fort Collins with the children, and I travel there every day to help him with the children.
Stand up. Who takes care of the children?
Oh, I do. My mother helps.
You work?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
Construction.
How do you support yourself?
Right now, I don't have a place to live. That's why when I go back, I'm going into treatment.
How do you expect her to give you any money?
In July of this year, Becky claimed she got a $50,000 insurance settlement.
Did
She
you?
went out and bought a new car.
No, I
Did
didn't.
you?
No, I didn't. My grandmother.
Did you get any money?
My grandmother gave me a couple thousand to get me a car so I could get a job.
Or what'd you do with the car?
It broke down.
Did you ever tell Miss Harris that you got a settlement for something?
I did tell her I had gotten some money and that I would give her some. I did tell her that. But I didn't have any. And as far as...
You didn't have any what?
I didn't have any money.
So what you told her was a lie?
Yes, Your Honor.
How much money do you owe her?
I do owe her money. She did give me money for Christmas. I'm not going to say I don't owe her anything, because I do.
So I'm asking, how much do you owe her?
I don't know for sure. I mean,
How much does she owe you for Christmas?
For Christmas alone, $800. But prior to that, I gave her $500 for rent in November, $500 again rent for January and and I even had to take loans out from where I worked for me to survive because I was
Did you
giving her
expect to
money.
get that money back?
Yes,
Miss
I
Harris,
did.
my question is, seriously, did you expect to get that money back from her? And I mean, you can get a judgment, but I'm going to ask you honestly.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is she
because
going to get the
would,
money from?
She would actually sit there on the phone in front of me and be talking to the insurance guy. Actually sit there talking to him, but she
didn't know
actually
that.
wasn't talking to him. And she was having a conversation with nobody. Yes, I'll come down and get that check. At one point, I mean, several times she was supposed to pick up a check. She had John and I believing she got a $50,000 check. She was throwing money around. She went and got a $150 perm. She gave me a $100 bill one time to thank me for watching her kids because she'd been out of the house for almost 3 months. I actually thought she was getting a settlement. Then I find this letter in the house. She settled for next to nothing in November of 2000.
Let me see.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You didn't tell them that you were settling it. You just wanted the money right away.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
say
I know.
anything.
But you're doing drugs. You need some money for drugs. Nonsense. Nonsense.
And later today,
If she's the co-signer on a note for your car, then you're supposed to pay for the car.
Right, which I pay her for.
Let's go slowly, Mr. Gaffney. My father didn't raise idiots.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rosemary Harris says her son's former common law wife, Rebecca Cardisco, owes for several unpaid loans. Rosemary claims Rebecca is a drug addict.
So you settled this accident claim despite the fact that you had an attorney. How much did you settle it for?
I think it was around $800. The attorney said that they couldn't get any more, and if they could, it was going to take a long while.
You didn't tell them that you were settling it. You just wanted the money right away.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
say
I know.
the settlement.
That's what you did. You had a lawyer. They got fed up with you because you settled with this company after they had made some expenditures. But you're doing drugs. You need some money. You need some money for drugs. Look, as far as I can see, she owes you for 3 months' rent and $800 for Christmas. She doesn't know how much she owes you. That's $2,300. Has she, I assume, not given you any child support for the 3 children?
Not as of yet, no.
Have you worked in the last 5 years?
Yes, Your Honor, and he did receive child support last month.
How much?
I gave him $500.
From where?
Between him and his mother.
From where?
I got some money from my grandmother.
From your grandmother?
She gave me some money to give him for the children. He said that he needed it for the children. And I have a job.
Do you use drugs or do you sell them occasionally?
I don't do either. I've been clean.
Judge, there is a judgment now. She's supposed to pay $575 a month.
Good. That's what she's supposed to do. Somebody else is taking care of your children. In the meantime, she owes you $2,300. Miss Cardisco, I wish you good luck in residential treatment. If you want it to be successful, you have to stay there. You can't go in there for 6 weeks, or for 4 weeks, or for 12 weeks and say it's over. You have to stay there. What is it, a year or 18 months? Is that what they want you to stay?
60 days. 60 days.
Nonsense! Nonsense! Bert and I were in family court between us for more years than you're alive. And no residential program where you just go for 60 days is going to keep you off drugs permanently. You have to go into a drug-free environment for a long time. You've been on drugs for at least 3 years. Don't kid yourself. 60 days is not going to do it. 30 days is not going to do it. You have to do it. You have children. You made children. They need you. Do you get it? They need you. Stay with it. Find the right place and stay there. You're a young woman. How old?
25.
25. Got a lot of years ahead. They can be miserable. You can have a miserable life or you can have a happy life. You still have another 50 years of happiness or you have 50 years of misery. Choice is yours. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Becky's nothing but a con.
I do have problems and I have issues, but they're not any better than I am. Any better.
I'm the primary caregiver because Becky's a drug addict.
I never kept her grandchildren from her. I was afraid she was going to try to take off or do something with them. I didn't know what she's capable of. I mean, she just made me look like an idiot in there.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Griffin versus Harris. Step forward, please.
Sales rep Aaron Griffin is suing his ex-girlfriend, nurse's aide Darlene Harris, for the return of his personal property and for having him falsely arrested. Darlene says Aaron broke into her apartment.
Mr. Griffin, you are suing the defendant, who was your former girlfriend, because you say she had you falsely arrested for burglarizing her property, when what you were actually trying to do was to get some of your stuff out because she had thrown you out. Ms. Harris said that you did, in fact, break in and all the property that you wanted belonged to her. Is that right?
Right.
Were you living together?
I had my own home.
Is that right?
No, he was living in my house.
Did he also have his own home?
Well, yes.
What was your stuff doing in her apartment?
We had decided to spend 2 weeks together. After a few days, I recognized that she didn't have some items. She didn't have a television in the bedroom. She didn't have a living room set. So I decided to move some of my belongings from my home over to her residence.
What did you move over?
I brought over my living room set, a television.
Which consisted of what?
Consisted of a cherry oak table, 8 chairs. I also brought over a 19-inch television, a portable CD player, my clothing, some dishes, glasses, silverware, and also...
She didn't have any of that stuff?
She had some of it, but incomplete sets.
She didn't have enough for you to eat off of for 2 weeks?
Well, I wanted to assist, and as I said, I
You want to assist in what?
assist her in some of the items that she didn't have.
And so after 2 weeks, it didn't work out. What happened, Mr. Griffin?
Well, we had planned to get married, and there was an issue in that I was still married and needed to get a divorce.
That's what Miss Harris said.
Yeah.
That's what Miss Harris said. She said when you brought the 8 chairs in, she didn't know you still had 8 chairs and a wife. Okay, so what happened?
She didn't apparently want to wait until I could get a divorce. So I decided that it was time for me to move out. That Monday morning, we had one final argument, and I left, but I did leave my belongings in the residence. The argument had gotten very bitter, and I decided that it was just best if I leave at that point.
That was smart.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Upon my return, I found that the defendant was not in her residence and the door was locked. She had given me a key when I first arrived from Texas.
But she took the key off the ring.
Right, unbeknownst to me.
How do you retrieve your articles?
Well, actually, I came in through the side window. I kind of pushed it up and climbed in.
But how do you get them? You brought over table, chairs, TVs, CDs. Where are you going to put all this stuff?
Well, I was going to place all of the items that I could carry into my vehicle.
What kind of vehicle do you have?
A Mercury Sable.
Is it one of those expandable Mercury Sables?
No, Your Honor. It's average size.
So you weren't planning too well.
I guess not, no.
So what happened? You crawl into the house and you open up a window, crawl into the house, and what happened next, sir?
I commenced to packing my clothing and my luggage, and the doorbell rang. And when the doorbell rang, I went to the door thinking it was the defendant.
It wasn't the defendant, it was the...
Police, right. It was the police upon me opening the door, but I thought it was the defendant.
Okay, what you thought. What you thought was irrelevant.
Okay.
It's okay, so you opened the door and it was the police. Go ahead.
Correct. They asked me what my name was. I said Aaron Griffin. They said, you're now under arrest, and they charged me with burglary. The defendant indicated that she didn't know me.
Really?
I had broken in.
Just a second. Did you tell the police you didn't know him?
No. 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 I never told. No.
You should have told him to call his wife. She knows him.
Very well.
Were you there when she said she didn't know you?
They were actually leading me down the stairs of the porch. And she was standing in front of the house with the police.
Yes.
She said she didn't know me, that I had broken in.
That's pretty nasty if you did it.
I never said that. I never said that.
Okay. So let's talk about this report that you made to the police. Tell me about that.
I was coming up my street with my sister-in-law, and I saw his vehicle in my driveway. Shouldn't have been in my driveway because I had taken the key off the key ring. I was scared. We had an argument, and I was...
So you called the police?
I called the police, and they met me at my house. They saw the window, and they arrested him.
They saw the window what?
It was broken.
How was it broken? The glass was broken?
Yes.
Did you break the glass?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Oh, you've left that out. You said you just pushed the window up a little bit. So you broke the window to get in?
Yes, I did.
That's not false arrest. You can't do that. It's not your house. You can't break a window to get in. So that takes care of your false arrest charge. Now you want all your furniture back.
Yes, I do.
Table, 8 chairs, 19-inch television, CD, dishes. You have all that stuff?
No, I do not.
Where is it?
I put it into the trash. I got rid of it.
Oh, no, Miss Harris, listen to me. You know how I caught him in fibs? That's a fib. You want to tell me what you did with his table and 8 chairs?
That's what I did with it.
Well,
I woke up one day and I was upset and I didn't want any reminder of him in my house, and I put that stuff out.
You put it out? Good.
Yes.
You pay for it. That was the wrong thing to do.
Well,
that was the wrong thing to do.
We were getting married and had a wife.
Listen to me. That was the wrong thing for you to do. You acted impulsively, and it was the wrong thing to do, so you have to pay for it.
Your Honor.
A, I don't believe that you just took it outside and threw it out. You may have given it to somebody.
Well, people in the neighborhood, I'm sure they came and took the stuff up off the curb.
Including
but
the television?
Exactly what,
including the television set?
Yes.
That's fine, then you pay for it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,250. But that's it, Mr. Griffin. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think that the defendant was a little dishonest as far as what occurred.
I never wanted him arrested. I just wanted him out of my house.
She really, in fact, had some feelings of scorn and wanted to retaliate.
I'm still angry and hurt, and it's just been too much.
Legal Secretary Deborah D'Amico is suing her ex-husband, disabilities advocate Darren Aquino, for the return of their son's belongings and for money owed. Darren is countersuing for legal fees.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 357 on the calendar in the matter of D'Amico versus Aquino. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mrs. D'Amico, the defendant is your former husband, and this must be one of your children.
This is my son, Brandon.
According to your complaint, your son Brandon was living with his father for a period of time, then came back to live with you.
Exactly.
It is your claim, one, that his father refuses to return some of his personal property, and two, that Brandon received some sort of a Social Security check, and that his father kept some of that money after he had returned to your home. Is that right?
That's true, Your Honor.
Mr. Aquino says that the things that were purchased for his son are in his home. He can come and use them whenever he wants to use them, and that he had some sort of an arrangement with his son to pay for some of that stuff, and he didn't pay for them, so Mr. Aquino kept some of his money.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. When were you divorced?
In 92, August.
How many children do you have?
3 children.
Give me their names and ages, please.
I have Nicolina, who's going to be 20, Eric, who's going to be 19 in December, and Brendan, who's 16.
Okay. When you were divorced in 1992, the children were living with whom?
With me.
For how long?
Since that time, Your Honor, I had physical custody of the children.
At this time, am I correct, according to you, that 2 of the children are living with you?
Yes, Your Honor. And the date of divorce was 93 of July. The date was incorrect.
Okay, well, I have the papers here, and it's part of the file. Regardless.
Doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
Are 2 of the children currently living with you?
Eric and Brendan. Brendan left the home.
No, listen to me.
Yes.
You're not following my question. You're not receiving, you're thinking about an answer. Are 2 of the children currently living in your home?
One of the children are currently living in the home.
Who?
Eric.
Where is your daughter?
Nicolina had left, and I don't know where she went.
Your Honor.
Is Nicolina living with you?
Well, on and off, Your Honor. She's 20 years old. She's liberated. She goes back and forth.
But she was for a period of time living with her father?
Yes, until he threw her out.
Okay. Stop playing with your papers.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor.
Just a second. I ask questions, you answer them, then I make a decision. That's the way we go here. It's comfortable for me.
Okay.
I'm used to routine. All right. Now, when did Brendan go and live with his father?
The end of June 2001.
And when did he return to your house?
June 2002.
Why did he leave your house?
He had an argument with me. At the time, I was imposing a curfew.
He had an argument with you?
Right.
Went to his father. What kind of Social Security check does Brendan get?
Well, the father receives Social Security disability, and Brendan gets a stipend from the government based on Darren's record.
What's the nature of your disability? Is it a physiological disability
it's
or
physical,
a psych?
Yeah, it's a multiple physical, Your Honor.
Multiple physical?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been on disability?
Since 1987.
Okay. What things do you claim that are in your former husband's house that belongs to your son?
Main items were TV, VCR,
Just a minute.
PlayStation.
TV, VCR, what else?
Several electronic games, all his clothing, all his shoes, which I have a list of, Your Honor, right here.
But there was a TV, was a VCR, and was a PlayStation that you took to your father's house?
Yes.
And are they still at your father's house?
Correct.
Why?
Why? Well, Your Honor, he left that house in a very bad way. He was thrown out at 4:30 in the morning by her. We had to go pick him up. He didn't speak with her for 6 months.
Mr. Aquino, listen to me carefully, sir. Are there any items that you have in your home that you personally purchased for your son after June of 2001 when he was living with you?
Oh, sure.
What?
I have PlayStation 2, is it?
Just a second. PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
What else?
Xbox.
Xbox. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Go ahead.
Clothes from Old Navy.
Okay.
That are still brand new in the packages.
Right.
Exactly.
Listen to me.
Yes.
5 days from today's date, all of his property, so far with the extension of PlayStation 2 and Xbox, are to be quiet, are to be packed in a box. That all, quiet, that all goes back to your son. Now, I will give you 30 seconds to convince me that that is not going to happen.
Okay, Your Honor, there is lots of complications at that household. Many of the children have had abusive treatment by the mother.
I don't care. Mr. Aquino,
Your Honor.
pay careful attention, sir. Your son is 16 years old.
That is correct.
Which means he is still a minor.
That is correct.
Should you wish to contest custody
I am
of your
doing
child,
so.
you're not receiving, you're speaking.
Yes, Your Honor.
Should you wish to contest custody of your child, you go to the appropriate family court. They will conduct a hearing with regard to whether or not he gets to stay where he wants to stay at age 16, whether it's not in his best interest to be with his mother. In the meantime, all of his property that he came to you with goes back to him. Keep going. I don't want to hear about abuse. I don't want to hear about
Your
neglect.
Honor, or, Your Honor, right now as we speak, an attorney is filing a document in Nassau County Family Court to restore him back to a stable lifestyle, which I set up for him. He did not go back to her in June. He went in August to visit. She's misinforming you. She's also filed other documents that are falsified, which I would like this court to consider that she made fraudulent statements to the Family Court of Queens.
Mr. Aquino, I want you to pay attention to me.
Yes, Your Honor.
I sat in the family court, the state of New York, the city of New York for many, many years, Mr.
I know.
Aquino.
That's why I was confident
So I'm
here today.
telling you, and I'm going to tell it to you, for the moment at least, without your son here. Wait outside. Wait outside. Fast! Fast!
Whoa.
I have things to do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He doesn't control the money. It goes to the person who is providing him with
Which
food.
was me.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No.
Yes, he lived with me.
Mr. Aquino, he didn't live with you in September.
But he'll return very soon.
I doubt it.
I don't.
doubt it.
I doubt it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Deborah D'Amico says ex-husband Darren Aquino won't return their son's belongings. Deborah also claims Darren has been withholding money from their son.
Now, one of the problems when you deal with 16-year-olds is they're very mobile. They get to go where they want to go.
Yes.
Usually when a child is over the age of 12, a family court judge in hearing a petition for custody is going to make a determination that, yes, it may be true that you present the more stable home for this child. However, if he says to the judge, there's no way that I want to go and stay with my father. I want to stay with my mother for whatever reason. And the judge is going to say, listen, what am I going to do? He's 16 years old. He can get on a bus. He can get on a train. He can take off. Where am I going to put him? So before you spend a whole bunch of money, you might be as well served if you got into some family counseling with him to try to resolve some of whatever problems exist. Because sometimes it's an exercise in futility to try to tell a 16-year-old where to live.
I understand
Not going to
that,
happen.
Your Honor.
In the meantime, it doesn't serve you well to keep this stuff as sort of ransom because it makes your son angry with you.
Yes, Your
It's
Honor.
not a good idea. Forget about his mother. I don't know if she's good or bad or a good mother or a bad mother, a psycho or not. I don't know. All I'm telling you is you have a child
Absolutely.
who right now is mad at you because you have his TV. You have his Nintendo. You have his PlayStation. All stupid things. Stupid things. But he's angry with you for that. And if you want to open a dialogue, you're smarter not to be stubborn and say, here, you want it? These are just things. All right, now I'm going to let you speak.
Your Honor, the reason I kept those things is because it was not settled that he's there. In my fight to get him back, because of the complications with the new fella in her life, now her husband, Brendan showed to myself and to my future wife these dissatisfactions and expressed to her more than me because he bonded with her as a second mother figure, which is good. It's good, okay? My concern is that these things that she shows him with the counseling, Your Honor, I've suggested that. She would interfere.
Your Honor.
She told Judge...
He's
of the family
He
court
is a liar.
who you probably know.
Right.
He got up. I've never seen a judge get up in rage with veins popping, yelling at her to shut up, that he makes the rules.
That is not
She
true.
interferes.
This man has
Mrs.
taken
D'Amico,
me to
interest.
court in 20 years.
Your Honor.
I must say this because I've
She's
been
cutting me
carrying it
off
for
as
20
usual.
years. This man has made false allegations, has used the judicial system to work for his benefit. He makes people lie for him. I am an upright citizen, a good mother. I've been taking care of my children
You
since
filed a
I'm
document
divorced.
forgery
And
in
I
the
have been
Supreme Court.
supporting them since. The man doesn't even pay child support.
Not
He is
supposed to.
a
We have an
loser,
obligation
Your
not
Honor.
to do that.
And the man is making up
Because of
lies here,
fraud.
and he's telling you this that like it's so, and it's not true.
Mr. Miko, what I'm telling you is, if you listen, I said, I don't care any of the stuff he's giving me. I'm telling him
Well,
he's got to return the stuff.
I am so glad you did that.
Period.
I am so
End of discussion.
honored.
Because, Mr. Aquino, it's not the right thing to do
Yes, Your Honor.
to further alienate your 16-year-old by keeping property that he deems his. Now, let's move on. That's finished. Let's move on to the second part of it, which is $391 a month. I am assuming, because I'm not going into this,
That was a recent increase, Your Honor.
whatever it is, you acknowledge that you kept some of his money because you say the last insurance benefit I received, it's not insurance,
No.
Mr. Aquino,
It's a
it's my money. It's Bird's money that we pay to support you because you're disabled.
Exactly.
No, it's my money that I paid into the fund.
How old were you in 1987?
28, I think.
28? And you've been collecting now for 15 years. So you've been collecting more than you worked, and you're going to collect for another 20 or 30 years. Believe me, it's not your money you put into the fund, it's Bird's money.
Thank you.
You say thank you.
So
You misused their
Mr.
money.
Aquino,
Yes,
pay
Your
attention
Honor.
to me. Believe me, I've been around the block longer than you have, Mr. Aquino.
Yes, Your Honor.
Trust me. So it's not insurance money.
No, ma'am.
It's
not.
Bird's money that went to your son that you kept, and you kept at a time when he wasn't living with you because you
Not
acknowledge
so.
that.
Not so, Your
No,
Honor.
no, that's what you
no,
said.
No. He
what you
took
said.
it in advance, Your Honor, to buy those sets. He says, Dad, can I have this money to buy the box? And
Just a sec.
August check.
Shh. I want you to be quiet. I got you now. Let me say. So what you're saying is he took... Quiet, Mr. Aquino.
I can't tell you if I'm quiet.
Mr. Aquino, what you're saying to me, sir, is that your son took an advance on his Social Security disability payment,
My Social Security disability
His.
payment. His beneficiary payment.
Bird's money, so that he could buy a PlayStation 2 and other electronic games.
And the cassette.
Wrong. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Listen to me, sir. If you, as his parent, choose to purchase electronic games for him, you don't make the choice unless it's out of your money. Now, if he's living with you, and because you say, well, you're going to
He
get
was
a check
living
next.
with
Mr. Aquino, I'm 10 steps ahead of you, sir. Because there may be something physiologically wrong with you, but there's nothing psychologically wrong with you,
That is
except you're a little
correct.
bit of a hustler. And when you say to me, quiet, and when you say to me he took an advance so that after he moved out I kept that money, I'm telling you that that's a hustle. Now, he moved out according to you in August.
That's
According to
correct.
his mother in June, according to you in August. Did you keep August's benefit?
August benefit went to her.
Your Honor, I got copies of the 2 checks
Can I
that
see
I
it,
got.
please?
I got statements to Social Security, too, of the misuse
These
of
are
the
the
funds
2
that
checks
she's
that
had.
I did
Okay?
receive since Brendan has been back with me.
Brendan has never received any use of his money while in Deborah's care.
Just a second. He's not supposed to get the money, Mr.
It's for the
Aquino.
parent
At
to
60,
use.
it's not for the parent to
his
use.
Quiet.
support.
Quiet. He is not supposed to get the money, Mr. Aquino.
At an age.
He's not
No.
supposed to get the...
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
He's not supposed to get the money, Mr. Aquino, until he reaches his majority. At 16, he is still a minor, which is why you can go to the family court to try to get custody of him, because he's still a minor. He doesn't control the money. It goes to the person who is providing him with
Which
food.
was me.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No.
Yes. He lived with me. What do you mean? He lived with us.
Mr. Aquino, he didn't live with you in
Yes.
September. He didn't live with you in August.
Of what year?
2002.
No, he did not. But he'll return very soon.
I doubt it.
I don't.
doubt it.
I doubt
don't.
it.
I doubt it.
When they see the fraud that she committed in the courts,
I know
I
he
doubt
makes
it.
allegations of fraud.
I don't doubt it. You filed
I'm
a false
talking.
document in Supreme Court.
You received August's check for 2002?
It
That's what
indicates
says.
on the check. I received
August 2000
August.
to me. You have August and you have October. And I don't. You had better find out from them what happened for September because they skipped
They're
September.
a month behind. You get the previous month when
I
they
don't
send
want
it
you
to
to interrupt me again. You may interrupt her. You don't interrupt me.
You're
Trying to explain
No,
the checks
don't
and how they
explain
come.
anything. Don't
I'll
explain
tell you
anything.
what
They're my
happened.
benefit.
I'm not
I'll explain how they
interested.
come.
Pay attention.
Let me make that
You have
clear.
August, and according to you have October. You go to them and find out where September
They
is.
told me they reissued it back to Darren because
Wasn't
he went
reissued
to
to
the
me.
Jericho.
Show me proof. Show me proof.
Well,
that
I
they
don't have
reissued it
proof.
to
I
him.
only have proof that I applied 2 times to be payee within the course of the past several
Fine.
months. I can show you that, Your Honor.
Just a second. Mr. Aquino, you've been sworn today. Are you testifying, sir, under oath, that you did not receive September's check for your
September's
son?
check. I didn't receive September's check. Did it come into the? She does the. It goes into a direct deposit.
Just a second. Did you receive September's check?
No, Your Honor.
Did you receive a check in October?
No, Your Honor.
You have not received a check since August.
Correct.
That
I have
check-
maybe a
Shh,
possibility why that is, Judge.
I don't care why it is. You said that you did not receive it.
That is correct.
Your fiancé said it did not come in. That's under oath. Very easy to
Your
get
Honor,
a tape.
I have letters
Shh.
here indicating that he was changed, the payee was changed to
Listen
his
to
name
me
again.
very-
So he would have had to have gotten the check somehow, either by direct deposit
Your
or
Honor,
the mail, Your Honor. I have
They're
2 notices
suspending
here
the
from
check
Social Security.
because of the problems
No,
with
they're not.
Debbie.
No,
And
they're
Listen
my
to me, Mr.
contact with the
Aquino.
office. Yes.
All I'm saying to you is, and I want you to be quiet and stop moving from side to side, sir.
I have a limp,
You-
so I
No,
can't
no.
stick.
You're nervous because you're hustling me a little
No,
bit.
I'm not hustling
Okay?
you, Your
You're
Honor.
nervous because you're
I wouldn't
hustling me a
hustle you.
little
You're
bit.
too
Oh.
sharp.
Your Honor,
Yo,
I
yo,
wish
yo,
you
yo,
would
you're
please
too
look
sharp
at
for me.
these.
Right.
Your Honor.
Miss,
These
I'm
two
going to throw you both out.
I'm sorry, Your
I'm
Honor.
throwing you both
Throw her
out.
out.
Now, 5 days from today, you are to get all of the property packed up. You make arrangements to have it picked up by a third party, a mover or whatever. With regard to the money, take it up with Social Security. Now, let's get to your counterclaim, which is nonsense. Mr.
Nonsense?
Aquino, it is
Why you
your
say it's
claim. It is
nonsense,
your
Judge?
claim. Shh, quiet. You say that you paid legal fees
true.
for your son Eric when he was in trouble last year. Is
No.
that right?
Eric was 18. It's for a charge when he was 16.
Yeah.
While he was living in her care.
Yeah.
That these things were concealed from me. And then at the end, she dumps him on my lap and says, now you take care of it. Take care of what? I said.
Okay.
I supported him. We have an obligation under the court, Your Honor.
What is it that you paid for him?
$3,000. We
Yeah.
assigned it over to Anthony. You probably know the name. As Eric's counsel.
Who hired the lawyer?
She asked me to go and call my friend Anthony.
No, just a second. She asked you to go and call your friend,
Right.
who is a lawyer,
We were going to have legal
Shh,
aid for him. Yes,
and you did that.
yes. And she also
Shut
met
up.
me at the court.
Shh. Don't volunteer. Just answer my questions. Where did you get $3,000 from?
I'll let Stephanie answer that.
No,
Stephanie
I
took
don't
it
want
from her phone.
Stephanie to answer it. I want you to answer it.
Okay. Stephanie took it out of her IRA.
Should have let legal aid represent him, sir.
That's what I said.
That ain't what she said.
That's what I
Absolutely.
She pleaded with
okay.
me and cried.
This case is resolved as follows. 5 days from today's date, all the property is to be returned to your son. It's very unfortunate that you can't put a period to the end of all of this heartache and
I'd
say,
like to.
shh, and say, for the sake of all the children and maybe grandchildren to come, we're going to get along here. Maybe we should all get together and try to be cooperative and try to work together as a family. That's not going to happen.
That would be wonderful. but
Good.
that's
Give
a
him back his
fantasy with her.
stuff, and that's it. Goodbye.
Parties
you,
are
Your Honor.
excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're dealing with a person that, you know, that's it's a little bit crazy.
All you hear is her anger and her bitterness, and she reflects that to the children.
I don't regret my children, but I regret ever marrying the fellow.
She kicked them to the curb like they were, you know, animals.
It's been a tragic 20 years dealing with him.
Antique store owner Rebecca Watson is suing her ex-lover, truck driver Larry Martinez, for unpaid loans and for money invested in his business.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor, this is case number 372 on the calendar, the matter of Watson versus Martinez. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Watson, you claim a loan to the defendant in the amount of $1,400 for a couple of things. To bring his daughter out for a visit and then to help pay his mortgage. In addition to that, you claim that he defrauded you out of $500, some sort of an investment. You want that money back. You want a total of $1,900.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Martinez says that he did, in fact, take some money from you, but that money was a gift, that you insisted upon giving it to him because he had fallen on some difficult financial times, and that the $500 investment that you made in his business was just that, an investment that didn't work out, and you lost your money. How do you know him?
We met at a charity ball, and I met him during a function.
When?
I believe December of 2000.
When did you first give him money?
July of 2001.
What kind of relationship did you have with him between December of 2000 and July of 2001?
We were involved very closely in that we were friends and intimately associated.
You considered yourself his female friend?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now tell me about the first loan.
The largest loan was $1,000 because he was behind on a mortgage payment.
Tell me about it.
Well, I just felt sorry for him and went ahead and told him that he begged me for the money, and I told him...
Tell me. Let's start from the beginning. He came to you, you were out for dinner, you were out someplace, he said to you, I'm behind in my mortgage. I want to know exactly how it came about.
No, he had been telling me along that he had had some money problems, and his girlfriend wasn't able to help him with his money problems, and that she was taking a lot of money.
So he had a girlfriend?
Yes, he has a girlfriend.
Well, what was he doing with you if he had a girlfriend?
Well, we were just really more friends than anything else, and I would give him a lot of advice, and our relationship was in that he's a truck driver. We'd talk over the phone a lot, and it was over the phone that he told me that really where he needed the money. So it wasn't over dinner or anything.
Go ahead.
And so I did have the money wired or electronically transferred.
No, I want you to tell me about it.
Oh, about our relationship?
No, about the $1,000, madam.
The $1,000, I did go ahead and have it wired.
I believe that you gave him $1,000. I want to know the circumstances surrounding you giving him the $1,000.
Well, I loaned him the $1,000.
That's what you say?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, since I'm not getting it from you, I'm going to go to Mr. Martinez. Mr. Martinez, she gave you $1,000. Tell me how that came about, sir.
She wired it to my account. She took $1,000, gave it to me. I told her I needed some help with the bills, and
You told her you needed help with the bills, and...
I said I'm behind. She was away. I was by myself. So I needed some money. I didn't have no help. She offered to help.
What did she say?
She says if you need
No, look at me.
If you need some money, I have money, and if you need to borrow some or whatever, it's here for you if you need it.
Good. And you said I need to borrow it.
I need about $1,000 to pay my bills.
So she sent you the money. So why didn't you pay it? Look here.
At that time, I didn't have any money. It went
That
on.
doesn't mean that it's not a loan, sir. That means that you didn't have the money then to pay her back.
Didn't have the money to pay her back and couldn't pay her back.
That doesn't mean it wasn't a loan.
Well, if it was a loan, I would have had to sign some kind of receipt or some kind of paperwork saying that, hey, you know...
You just told me you borrowed the money from her. You used that word. I asked her if I could borrow some money from her.
Okay. Maybe I should have used a different word then.
That's not... Maybe you should have, but that's the word that you used.
Okay. I took the $1,000 from
You
her.
borrowed it.
Okay.
And you didn't have money to pay her back. That doesn't mean you don't owe it to her. What's next?
Well, Your Honor, the reason...
Shh, I didn't ask you. I said,
Sorry.
what's next? $1,000 I have. Hello?
Oh, no, Your Honor, I'm sorry. I thought you I think the reason he didn't have the $1,000...
I don't care what the reason is,
Yes,
why he
ma'am.
didn't have the $1,000. He owes you so far $1,000.
Yes, ma'am.
What's
What
next?
else? Well, there was $500 for the investment.
I don't care about the
toys.
investment. You were dumb enough to give him $500 for an investment. That's your problem. Let's
Yes,
go to
ma'am.
the next thing.
I think he didn't have the money because Michelle wasn't there to give it to him. Okay. Michelle was
Are you
in
finished
jail.
with the, Are you finished with the $1,000?
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
all he owes you, $1,000?
No, ma'am.
Then I want you to get to it. I didn't ask you anything else.
All right. There's the $500 in the e-toys.
Just a
and-
second. Miss Watson,
Yes.
you're not paying attention to me.
I'm sorry.
I told you, if you were dumb enough to give him invest in a business for $500 with him, and he didn't have enough money to pay his own rent, you don't get that money back.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't. Good. Now, so far, he has admitted reluctantly, to owing you $1,000. Does he owe you any more money?
Yes, ma'am, he does. But he is such
You want to get to it!
Yes, ma'am.
What is it? What was it for? When did you give it to him? Before
He is such a scoundrel that...
That's it. I'm finished with you, Miss Watson. I'm finished with you. I asked you a simple question. The simple question is, we got to the $1,000. He owes you the $1,000.
Yes, ma'am.
He doesn't owe you $500 that you invested with him. Is there any other money that he owes you? What you have to say is yes, how much it was, what you gave it to him for. If you're not going to answer that question directly, Miss Watson, I'm going to give you an award of $1,000 and say goodbye. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I do. He does owe me another $900.
No, he doesn't. You want to tell me what the $900 is for?
I do have documentation on monies that were given to him when he did ask me for a loan, and I do have FYI when I did fax him the information. And
Miss
then,
Watson, is there something wrong with you?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You invested in a bad deal, period. End of discussion. That leaves $400 left, not $900. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And later today,
I don't remember getting hit. I got hit 3 times, actually.
Started drinking some liquor, then you just started wilding.
She started what?
Wilding.
What is that?
Acting crazy.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rebecca Watson says former lover Larry Martinez owes for a series of loans and for an investment she made in his business.
Your lawsuit is for $1,900.
Yes, ma'am.
$1,000 loan. Something for a plane ticket or something to bring his daughter out.
That's
and then
correct.
Quiet! And then $500 that you say you invested with him. I've already told you I'm discounting the $500. He does not owe you the $500. You invested in a bad deal, period. End of discussion. That leaves $400 left, not $900. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what was the other $400 for?
The other $400 was in petty cash and plane ticket that he needed to...
I'm not interested in petty cash.
...get his daughter
I'm
back
not interested
to New York.
in petty cash. What was the plane ticket?
The plane ticket was about $300.
What do you mean about $300?
It was $300 because I gave him $100 for being able to get in the airport.
Show me the $300 plane ticket. Show me where it was. Where did you buy the $300 plane ticket?
No, I gave him the money as a loan because he needed to get his daughter from New York.
How much was the plane ticket to get your daughter from New York to wherever?
About $250. That has nothing to do with the money that she gave me. Was $1,000 towards my bills. That money came out of my pocket for the plane ticket.
So she didn't give you $250? No. You have any evidence that you put that plane ticket on your credit card?
No, ma'am.
Good. So you got $1,000, Miss Watson. That's it, period. That's what you say you owe her? That's what you borrowed. Okay. Is that right? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
There were, times that she was in jail and she was gone and not able to be with him. I didn't know all this at the time. I didn't even know he had a girlfriend.
Well, I was away. The cat played.
Larry is a real scoundrel, and he's got a woman at every port.
I thought she was my friend, and she was cheating on me. Both of them.
You learn from your mistakes. I'm not going to be doing that anymore.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Batiste versus Franquitos. Step forward, please.
Sports attire salesman Edgar Batiste is suing former friend, 24-year-old bartender Alicia Franquito, for selling him bogus airline tickets.
Mr. Batiste?
Good evening, Your Honor.
According to your complaint, sir, you purchased some Buddy airline tickets from the defendant. I don't know what these are. You're going to explain that to me. And according to you, you didn't get what you paid for. You want your money back. And it says you don't get your money back. This was a final sale. So first, you want to tell me what a Buddy ticket is, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. I purchased 3 Buddy passes from Alicia Franquito.
Could you keep your voice up? I want you to tell me what they are. I've just told you. They're Buddy passes.
Yes.
What are they?
They're airline travel tickets.
I never heard of that. Can I see what they look like?
Can I explain it to you?
Sure.
Basically, if someone works for an airline, they can give free tickets to people, and I had bought them from a friend who knows the person who works for the airline.
Just a minute. So the airline give to their employees free tickets.
Yes.
That they can use like a companion ticket?
Yes.
So that the airline employee can take a companion with them to go someplace.
Or they can just give them away to people to use.
But they're not supposed to sell them.
Right.
They're not supposed to sell them.
Exactly.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. Batiste, well, it says right here that this can't be sold, right? Did you read that?
No, I didn't at the time, Your Honor. I didn't.
Well, you knew it couldn't be sold or bought. You know that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
In any event, the reason you want your money back is because they told you that you had to pay a certain amount of money in addition to these tickets to
Yes,
travel?
ma'am.
And the person you sold them to somebody else.
Some friends were supposed to travel.
You sold them to somebody else.
Yes, ma'am.
And the person you sold them to said, I want my money back, because it says that I had to give them more money to use these tickets, according to your complaint. And now you want your money back from her.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
she should get her money back from the person she bought them from. Right?
Yes.
So am I correct that this is a whole little scam? Somebody who works for the airlines gets free tickets, and then they start selling them. How much did you pay for them?
40.
You paid 40. You sold them to him for 175 apiece. Right? Shh. And how much did you sell them for?
My friends paid me $175 each, Your Honor.
So you were even.
And I paid her. Yes, ma'am.
Give those back to him, please. Okay?
Okay.
Good. Mr. Batiste, I'm going to tell you what the law is, what we call the doctrine of clean hands. That means that when you come into a court of law and ask a court to give you justice, you have to come in with clean hands, not having done anything wrong with regard to the particular events surrounding the case. You did something wrong. So did she. You did something wrong by buying black market tickets. She did something wrong by buying black market tickets. So do you know what courts say to folks like you who did something wrong? They tell you to get out. They say, don't waste our time. We're not interested in trying to help people who are doing the wrong thing. We have enough time to spend trying to help people who are doing the right thing and getting screwed. We don't try to help people who you screw a little bit, she screws a little bit, and then you come into court and say, please help me because I was screwed more than her. We don't have time for that. Goodbye, Mr. Batiste.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I sort of expected this decision.
I expected it.
My buddies gave me the money. They're out of the money. I'm out of a little money myself.
I don't know. I just knew I shouldn't have done it in the first place.
Next time I will do my ticket buying through an internet service.
Homemaker Jackie Bremsey is suing the mother of her daughter's schoolmate, correctional officer Jacqueline Griffin. Jackie claims Jacqueline's son, 10-year-old Donald, broke her daughter's nose in a fight.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 410 on the calendar in the matter of Bremsey versus Griffin. You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Young people, have seats.
All right, let's talk very briefly. You two moms don't know anything about what happened at school on the day of this incident when your daughter's nose was broken. But it is your claim that the defendant's son assaulted your daughter, broke her nose, and you want to be compensated for the unreimbursed medical bills that you sustained.
That's correct.
Mrs. Griffin says that her son was merely defending himself, that your daughter started the fight, and she is not responsible. Correct? Yes, ma'am. So why don't you two ladies sit down, and I'm going to see these two young people right up here. What's your first name?
Kiara.
And yours?
Donald.
I'm going to start with Donald. Now, Donald, you know that you punched Kiara in the face, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And her nose, according to her mother, was broken. So I want you to tell me why you did that.
I got to school that morning, and kids had came up and said, Kiara called your mom a low-down dirty. Okay.
Okay. So somebody came up to you and told you.
Yes, ma'am.
That Kiara had called your mom a nasty name.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do?
Okay, Kiara, she was on a field trip, and she came back, and I guess the kids had already told her. And we was...
Okay. Were you on a field trip that day?
Yes, I was.
Did you have a conversation with somebody when you came back from the field trip?
Yes, I did.
Who did you have a conversation with?
My friend that I was standing next to.
And what's your friend's name?
Tony.
And what was the conversation about with Tony?
We were talking about things that we were going to do on the playground, not about me calling his mother a name.
Well, let me ask you this question. Why would you call his mother a name?
I don't know, but I didn't.
Didn't say anything bad about his mother?
No, ma'am.
Well, what happened after you had this conversation with this gal who was telling you about these bad things that she was saying about your mom?
It was around lunchtime, okay? I guess she had already came back, and it's a breezeway that you walk down and go to the playground. And I walked up to Kiara and I asked her, and then she kicked me and she said, I didn't say nothing about your mom. And then I punched her in the face.
So what you're saying is she kicked you first?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did she kick you?
In the groin area. She tried to.
She what?
She tried to kick me in my groin area.
But she didn't kick you?
She kicked me, but I had blocked it so she could not
kick you
in that spot.
Okay, so she kicked in your direction, but you didn't come together.
She kicked, but I blocked it. Okay. Okay, and so then I punched her, and she had a jump rope. It's red, white, and blue. Okay, like the American flag. And she hit me in the head with it. And then by that time, we just started fighting. And then Miss Porter, she saw the fight. And then by that time, she came, took us to the office. And then Kiara's mom came. And then they went in the office.
Donald says that you tried to kick him. Is that true?
Yes, it is true, but I did not kick him.
But you tried to kick him. Why did you try to kick him?
That was after the fact of the fight, not when the fight started.
Well, you tell me now, Kiara, how the fight started.
He came to me and said, what'd you call my mama? And I said, I didn't call your mama nothing. And then he pushed me and I pushed him back.
He pushed you? How did he push you?
Real hard, like this, pushing me back or something, and up against the wall. And I pushed him back, and then he came in my face. He grabbed my hair, pulling my hair down, and then punched me in my face, just keep on one side of my face. Then he started punching me in my nose about 10 times, I should say. And then Shayla went to go get a teacher, and he ran off to the playground like then nothing happened.
Had you ever had trouble with Donald before?
No, ma'am.
Had you ever had trouble with Kiara before?
No, ma'am.
Well, maybe this other young girl who was telling you the stories was just making things up. Is that possible?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, why would you believe her?
I went to her and asked her, and she kicked me, and then I punched her.
I don't believe that. No, Donald.
I went to her and asked her.
No, Donald. I don't believe that you asked her, and in response to your asking her, she kicked you.
Yes.
Don't believe that, Donald. Doesn't sound right to me. Doesn't sound right to me, Donald. Sounds like a good story you might tell your mother, but it doesn't sound truthful to me. Have you ever had trouble scrapping in school before? What are you looking up for? You're not that old that you have to remember.
With one boy. With a boy. Yeah.
Once before?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you lose your temper?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened to you in school when you lost your temper?
We started fighting on the playground.
How many fights have you had in school?
None.
Didn't think so. So, Donald.
Now.
You see how you know how to be a polite young man?
Yes, ma'am.
You got to carry that over to the outside world, Donald. You understand, Mrs. Griffin? He wasn't telling you the truth. She didn't kick him first. He got angry. And he got angry, Mrs. Griffin, because somebody told him that she had called you a bad name.
May I?
Sure. Go ahead.
I really don't know exactly what went on in this incident, but prior to this, the kids were calling one another. They supposedly were secretly liking each other. This child called my house numerous times.
So?
They liked each other, so I figured it was just a little disagreement between maybe a little girlfriend and boyfriend, and that's how it started. I don't really know how it went.
All right, Miss Griffin, let me go back a second. What I don't want you to do is to make excuses for Donald.
Oh, no, there's no excuse.
Okay.
None.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You know how many hours your mother has to work for $175?
12.
A little bit more than that.
She has to work a long time to get that money, Donald. So you not only owe her an apology, you also owe your mother an apology. You start with her.
And later today,
your son is an alcoholic. He's not providing for his family. She has a baby and 2 other children, and you're suing her for a deep freeze? Where is your brain?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jackie Breamsey says 10-year-old Donald Griffin punched her daughter in the face, breaking her nose. Donald says she called his mom a bad name.
All right, Miss Griffin, Donald was told by someone, a gossip,
True.
that this young lady said something bad about you. Now, she says she didn't say it, so that could have been just a troublemaker.
That's true.
But your son has a short fuse, because he's been in trouble for fighting before. And what he would naturally do is not go over to Kiera and have just a discussion with her. He would be angry. Doesn't strike me as being logical that if he went over to her and said, "Did you call my mommy a name?" and her response would be to kick him in the groin. That doesn't sound logical to me. What sounds logical is he might have said to her, "Did you call my mommy a name?" And she said, "No, I didn't." And then he hit her or pushed her, put his hands on her. That's logical. And that's what happened. And it's all because he listened to somebody who was gossiping. Do you understand, Donald?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't want to spend the next few years with your mom having to come defending you in court, do you?
No, ma'am.
Because that's not pleasant for you and especially for your mother. Okay, step up, Miss Beamsy. Tell me about your nose. What happened to your nose, Kiera?
It was broken. He punched me in it a lot of times.
Tell me what it felt like.
It felt like it was hurting really bad. It was getting swollen up. And
You have any pictures? See, you have some pictures there. I'd like to see them. How old are you, Donald?
10.
Looks to me like you punched her in the eye, too. Did you do that, too?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Breamsey, how much were your out-of-pocket expenses? Because it's hard for me to tell. It looks like they were $165.
That's correct, and $10 for the radiologist.
You have to take care of that, Donald, which means your mother has to take care of it. Does your mother make a lot of money?
Close to. Yes, ma'am.
You think your mother... Look at your mother. You think your mother makes a lot of money?
Yes, ma'am.
You do? Miss Griffin, you make a lot of money?
I doubt it.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a correctional officer.
Your mother works very hard and does not make a lot of money. She doesn't have a lot of money to go around getting you out of scrapes. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you're very lucky that Miss Breamsey only wants her unreimbursed medical bills, because I don't think she wants to hurt your mother. Believe me, if you were older, she'd want a lot more. You know how many hours your mother has to work for $175?
12.
A little bit more than that.
She has to work a long time to get that money, Donald.
Yes, ma'am.
She doesn't have money to go around to buy you out of these scrapes. You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you really understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
So you not only owe her an apology, you also owe your mother an apology, because your mother's going to have to come up with this money for you. You start with her.
I'm sorry.
You mean it?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $175. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I hope Dawn has learned something from this.
She told him she didn't like him at all.
Never pay attention to other students. No, we're not friends, and he did like me. If they hit you, you hit them back, but you're not supposed to hit them, though.
House designer Charles Scott Wells is suing his ex-fiancée, retired banker Linda Howells, for the return of property and an engagement ring. Linda is countersuing for medical bills, plus pain and suffering due to an assault.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please.
Your Honor, this is case number 456 on the calendar in the matter of Wells versus Howells. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Mr. Wells, according to what I've read, sir, you and the defendant had a glorious 11-year relationship. Sometimes on, sometimes off. Now it's off. It's over. But about 2 years ago, when it was over, it is your claim that Miss Howells, while you were incarcerated on some kind of domestic dispute, she stole all of your personal property. So that's the first part of your lawsuit, that you want your personal property from 2 years ago.
Yes.
Then, more recently, in 2002, you got back together again. And you claim that you proposed marriage, and you gave her a ring. And then a month or so later, the relationship ended for good, so you want the ring back.
Yes.
Miss Howells says that she deserves the ring. She doesn't even address the stuff, but she says she deserves the ring after 11 years of being with you. And she's counterclaiming because she says in November, which is the date of the final breakup, that you assaulted her and she wants to be compensated for her pain and suffering, whatever medical bill she has. So I'm not going to get into what you say Miss Howells took 2 years ago, and I'm going to tell you why, sir. Have you been incarcerated for the last 2 years?
No.
Then would you like to tell me why you did not pursue this matter for 2 years?
Well, Your Honor.
I know who I am, so just tell me why.
The reason why is because we have been together and on and off so many times that I've lost count, and these things that I want are things that I bought with my own money. I've paid Ms. Howells numerous amounts of cash and dining and trips to Mexico, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and I've been slapped in the face, and I'd like to have my things back.
Well, you should have been more vigilant, Mr. Wells. Courts are set up to deal with divorces.
Mm-hmm.
They're not set up to deal with almost marrieds, almost togethers, 11-year relationships that don't pan out. You had 2 years in which to act, you didn't. But I'm going to get to the ring for a second. Where's the ring, Miss Howells?
The ring, I returned to Costco in Medford, Oregon, and gave them a picture of the attack of my right arm, and they returned the money to me.
How much money did they return?
$1,099.
That's what you owe him. $1,099. Is that what you paid for the ring, Mr. Wells?
Yes.
An engagement ring is given in anticipation of getting married. You didn't get married, you don't keep the ring or the value thereof because you returned the ring. You don't keep the cash because you feel as if you deserve it. You don't. If you're foolish enough to live with somebody who abuses you and who makes your life miserable, that's your problem. You don't get to keep the ring. So you get $1,099, sir, on your complaint.
Okay.
Now we're going to get to your counterclaim. I want you to tell me what happened in November when you claimed that Mr. Wells assaulted you.
Okay, Mr. Wells and I, being he was having some behavior problems, I was going to drive us to a Christian marriage counseling. It was a 2-day seminar. We tried to find the place where it was going to take place and could not find it. So we decided to just go to dinner and, and forget about it. So we went to dinner, had a couple drinks, and then on the way home, we stopped at this nightclub. It's a steakhouse nightclub. He started verbally accusing me things of looking at some guy in the bar and things like that, starting a fight. And I was having a good time. And anyway, so we get to my home, and it escalated. So we get out of the car, go in the house, and he all of a sudden just turned into a totally different person and told me that, called me some names, and then he told me he was going to kick that TV in, the big screen TV, and he was going to slap me in my face, and he was going to walk out the door and get a taxi and go home. Well, he didn't have any money. So he grabbed my phone and proceeded out the door with it. I said, give me my phone back. Anyway, he slammed it down on the cement. I said, Scott, calm down. He came back inside my home, and he just was out of control. I said, I will give you the money to take a taxi, if that's your big, thing. I go, why can't you just get along with me and we can just, work this out? Why do you have to be like this? And anyway, he grabbed my purse at one time, ran to the door, and then I ran after him and got my purse away because I had some money in it. We kind of backed up. I kind of backed to my kitchen counter, and something in my heart told me I just better make it to the door and scream because of the way he was carrying on and going out of his mind. And anyway, so I ran to the door, got the door open. I opened the door with my right hand, and and I got to scream out for help, and he immediately grabbed my right arm. It's really hard, and he covered up my mouth, dragged me to my office. It's a second bedroom I use for my office. He dragged me in there and told me the police are going to come, and how much he loved me, and he just carried on, please, tell him I left, because actually when he grabbed me on my arm and grabbed me around my face, I thought he was going to kill me.
Okay, so he grabbed you by the arm, put his hand across your mouth and said, please don't scream because the police are going to come.
Yes.
Tell them I'm not here.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, so then the police came, and anyway, he hid in my closet, and they pulled him out of the closet, but he had put something in one of my shoes.
What did he put in one of your shoes?
I have the police report, Your Honor.
What did he put in your shoe?
Meth, drugs.
Drugs. So who was arrested?
He was arrested.
What about
I didn't press charges.
What about you?
No, I went in and did a urinalysis in my bathroom. They gave me the cup, and I'm clean.
What about him?
No, they took him to jail.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm not a drug user. It's
So this was an
isolated.
isolated instance?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, right.
And later today,
Your Honor, she knew I was going in the hallway.
That doesn't mean anything if she knew you were going in the hallway, Miss Davis.
Yes, Your Honor. This is how it was.
No, it wasn't. Stop making it up as you're going along.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Charles Scott Wells says ex-fiancée Linda Howells owes for the return of property and an engagement ring. Linda says he bought the ring at Costco and she returned it.
All right, Mr. Wells, let's hear your version of the events of the 3rd of November, 2002.
Well, I call this the abuse of the legal system, and here's why. Ms. Howells had made a statement to her neighbor, if I'm murdered, then it's my boyfriend who did it. Well, that was early in the afternoon. Ms. Howells picks me up that evening, takes me out to dinner, takes me back to her house, goes outside, screams help, I get arrested. That's the short version of it. I mean, that's just one incident. And I've got proof right here.
I'd like to see it.
Also, Ms. Howells is sue crazy. She's got 7 lawsuits going. Here's one that's just recent, a whiplash case. That,
Shh, not interested in a whiplash case. Let me see proof, sir.
This, from here on the second page, kind of states what happened.
Why were you hiding in the closet?
The reason I was hiding in the closet is because of an incident that happened 2 years ago that was similar to this, where she had called the police, had me arrested, said that I had threatened her. I went to jail, and that's when I lost my belongings out of my house.
So is that why you were hiding? What about the drugs?
The drugs, I don't do drugs now as isolated incidents.
Just a second. What were the drugs doing in her shoe?
I had put them there.
Why?
Because when Miss Howells opened the door for the police, she said, he's hiding in the closet.
Well, what were you doing walking around with the drugs?
I was on my way.
Methamphetamine. What were you doing walking around with?
It was a foolish mistake, Your Honor. I mean, it was something I am very embarrassed about.
What did you plan to do with it, sir?
Pardon?
I mean, were you going to frame it?
I was going to snort it.
Had you snorted any of it before?
In the past?
Yes.
No, I'm not a drug user. It's
so this was an isolated instance?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, right. Were you given a urine test when you got to the precinct?
Yes.
Is it negative or positive?
I'm not sure what the results were.
Really? All right. Let me see your injuries, please.
Okay. And here's a copy of the police report, what happened. And then there's that on my arm. And then the incident of it was actually a year prior, November 23rd, 2001.
I'm not interested in what happened the year before. I'm not interested in his property that happened the year before. I'm not interested.
Okay.
Oh, this is a bad bruise.
Very bad. And I had a 5-hour shoulder surgery in 1997 on my shoulder.
Oh, please. I'm not interested in the year of the flood, madam.
And Your Honor,
well,
there was no...
No, Your Honor, it caused me paralysis, his grabbing me.
Okay, right now you look just fine, but he gave you a nasty bruise.
There was no report of that when the incident happened with the police. This is all
fabricated. Because I didn't
fabricated.
press charges. I tried to protect you.
You admitted to the police, sir, that you last snorted the meth earlier that evening.
Yes, I did. Your Honor, I went down the wrong path there. And
fine, well then what you did,
know.
sir, you went down the wrong path, and what happened is...
But the drugs have not...
No, listen to me. You went down the wrong path, sir, and what happened when you go down the wrong path and you snort drugs earlier in the evening, your behavior changes.
Mm-hmm.
Even your memory of events change. Because what you told me happened was that she set you up that night.
She did.
That she came to take you to dinner, and she drove you home to her house, and then she ran outside and screamed for the police so that she could have you arrested. If that's really what you think, I feel sorry for you. If that's what you want me to believe, I feel sorry for me. Because it's not what happened, sir.
Well, Your Honor,
what happened is you got into an argument with her. You were behaving irrationally. You were a little bit sweaty. I don't know what your circumstance is as we stand here today, and I'm certainly not going to ask you, but I will tell you that night you were acting a little bit irrationally. She went outside and screamed for somebody to call the police, and you got busted, and you got busted for either a disturbance at her home and or the drug possession. You probably pled guilty to the drug possession. Is that a fair statement?
Well, Miss Howells was arrested for marijuana that evening,
Did you?
And she was partying with me.
Did you plead guilty to the drug possession?
Yes, I did.
So that's over.
Yeah.
So that part is.
I haven't tried
That part is over with. As part of what happened in the course of that evening, sir, you bruised her very badly because you didn't want to get. Oh yeah, you did.
That picture could be from anything. If she was injured, wouldn't she have told the police that night when I was arrested?
A black and blue mark like that doesn't come out 2 seconds later. It comes out. That's what happened. You grabbed her inside. You mean you didn't punch her? She didn't say he punched me. He kicked me in the back. He threatened to stab me. He said you grabbed her by the arm, which you did, in order to take her inside to shut her up. You were acting irrationally. I don't think that she was seriously injured that night. I don't believe that. But I believe she was injured sufficiently enough to cost you $1,099, which is the cost of the engagement ring. So your claim is dismissed, as is your counterclaim. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Model Sherry Eckert is suing her ex-boyfriend, guitar player Mark Zavon, for unpaid loans and rent. Mark is countersuing, claiming Sherry sabotaged his career.
Order. All rise. Bless you. Your Honor, case number 380 on the calendar in the matter of Eckert versus Zavon. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Eckert, you and the defendant lived together for a period of time. You claim that you loaned him some money during that time, and he owes you a month's rent because when he left, he didn't give you notice, and pursuant to your agreement, he should have given you a month's notice. Mr. Zavon says that he did borrow some money from you, not as much as you are claiming, and he would have paid you back, except that because of your actions, he lost his job, he had no way to pay you back, and that you kept some of his personal property, and he has a counterclaim. When did you live together? From when to when?
April 18th, 2001 to November 2nd, 2001.
Now, what were these loans for?
Actually, he was behind on some bills, and he had asked me to pay them for him, and I agreed as long as he signed something saying that he would pay me back, which he did.
Let me see what he signed.
I'd like to see that as well.
Absolutely.
It seems as though it's been changed.
It has been changed to less than it was.
Okay.
If you look very carefully, it's been changed to, I looked at that myself. It's been changed to a lesser amount.
Those
not
aren't
a
my
great,
initials, by the way.
That's your signature, however. I've
That
compared
is
it
my
with the
signature.
signature on the answer. That is your signature.
It is.
So now you remember signing that agreement.
I did,
Good. Now may I have it, please?
but not for that amount.
No, not true, sir. Because the original amount on this was some $1,500 and some odd dollars, and that was changed because the Sprint bill was not $200 and some odd dollars, but only $115. So it was reduced. You see that? It was reduced, not increased.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. You signed it. How much of this did you pay?
At the time, I wasn't able to
Not at
pay.
the time. At any time. How much of this did you pay?
$400.
Okay. Is that how much you paid back?
He paid back $350.
All right, he said $400. You have proof of $400?
Yes, I do. I have canceled checks. I also paid in money orders, and I don't have the receipts for those.
Okay.
But I'll be honest and say he did pay me $350, even though he doesn't have the proof of that.
Okay. $1,130. That's what's left.
Correct.
On the debt.
Mm-hmm.
And you're suing him for $2,028. Explain that to me.
Actually, on the lease agreement he signed, it says that he must give me a 30-day, 1-month notice prior to moving out. And when
Did you have a roommate before he moved in?
His friend actually moved in at the same time, and they both had the same agreement.
I asked you a question. I want you to give me the answer. Did you have a roommate before he moved in?
We all moved in at the exact same time, basically.
Are you still living in the same place?
Yes, I am.
With whom?
I have roommates now.
Okay. Now, you left, sir, November 2nd,
Yes, that's correct.
2001. Does your lease agreement provide that you give her 30 days' notice?
Yes, it does.
Did you?
No, I did not.
Why?
Because she caused me to lose my job and sabotaged my career.
Okay, now let me hear your reason why she caused you to lose your job.
Okay. At the time, I had a job a regular job as a guitar player in a successful rock band. We were touring and we were on the East Coast, and I borrowed the money from her because our singer had an accident and broke a rib. I didn't have any money to pay the bill at the time, and so she offered to pay it, and I accepted. She said that I could pay her back when I had the money. However, over the next few months, she became very jealous, and it started getting really out of hand. She started calling me nonstop. She started going through my mail. She started going down my phone bill and calling every number on the phone bill. As a matter of fact, I have a phone bill here where her notes are evident, where she was looking for whether it would be a man or a woman answering the phone, and whether or not she would approve.
I still don't understand how she caused you to lose your job.
She was very jealous, and so when I was out on the road touring with a rock band, there are inherently situations that arise where women can get crazy, and she was aware of this, and she became very jealous, and she wanted me to come back to Los Angeles really bad. So what she did was she started to call the singer's wife.
Did you call the singer's wife?
She's a close friend of mine.
What kind of conversation did you have with her?
I asked her if she had heard from...
You all moved into this apartment together? Is that right? And each of you were to pay $500 a month?
That's correct.
Each?
Yes.
Okay. So he owes you $1,630. He didn't give you a month's notice. That's so far. You have a counterclaim, sir? For $5,000, you claim that she caused you to lose your job.
That's correct.
That would be the reason that you just gave me, that you called the singer's wife and complained and told her a whole bunch of stories. Which,
yeah, he was very happy. Excuse me.
That the singer is not here, the wife is not here.
That is correct.
Okay, so that's all hearsay. That's somewhere out here that I don't hear. All right, now the next thing that you're counterclaiming for is personal property that you say that she sold at a garage sale. What's the nature of the personal property?
Well, it's basically things like a mountain bike, camping gear, grill.
Why didn't you take that with you when you moved out?
At the time, I had just flown back from Battle Creek, Michigan. They dropped me off in the middle of nowhere, you know. So I had to find my way back to Los Angeles, and I had a U-Haul. I went to get my stuff.
So you got a U-Haul?
Yes, I did. And I started to load my stuff into the truck, at which point Sherry came home, and she started to throw my stuff out into the driveway and damage my stuff, and I was just trying to get out of there as fast as possible. I just wanted to be gone.
Yeah.
And so I did my best to get everything I could.
Yeah.
But I was unable to get everything.
That was in November of 2001. Is that right?
And I've tried to get my stuff back since then.
Well, what have you done?
I asked her if she would give me my stuff back, and she said that she would if I paid her the money that I owed her. So I began paying her some money in order to get my stuff back. But I never received one thing. She would say that she would give me the stuff back, and then she would change her mind. And I never did get one thing back.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, actually, the camping gear he's talking about is a sleeping bag, which I purchased. Here's the receipt. And
you purchased it for whom?
For when we were going to go on a camping trip, but it was been returned. It got returned within the same week.
It was a gift.
So when he's talking about camping gear, it's something I own. The things that he's talking about are my things. He got everything that out of there.
Just a second. Let me see your list. Let me see your list.
The bike, I don't even know what he's talking about. He never left a bike or any property there. There's nothing there.
Mountain bike, space heater?
I never saw it. I don't know what he's talking about.
Weight bench?
That's actually Todd's, his friend's weight bench. It's not his.
What about the incline bench?
That's also Todd's. That's not Mark's.
I don't know what she's talking about. This is all my property.
No. Well, then, I feel like he had a U-Haul that was a huge truck, and before I got home, he had the whole thing packed. So I don't know why he didn't just take anything that he felt was left behind.
I don't know either. And I don't know why. And I don't know why he waited for a year to come after all this stuff. Anyway, in any event, you didn't pay any rent. Is that right?
I paid rent right up until the time that I was...
No, you didn't pay any rent after you moved out, did you?
No, I did not.
Right, then you should have come to get all this stuff.
I tried to, but she wouldn't let me come over, and I didn't want to come over if it...
Then what you do is you go to court.
That's
do you understand?
true. Yes,
what you do is you sue. What do you expect her to do? Hold on to all this stuff for a year?
I tried to get it back continuously.
Then what you tried by going to court, just like you did now.
I understand.
And you do so promptly.
Yes, ma'am.
It's easy. It's easy for her. She's got an IOU. IOU makes it easy. A lease makes it easy. But you don't leave a whole bunch of stuff if this is your property for a year and then say, oh, by the by, I want my property back. So you forget about that. You owe her $1,630. Isn't that what I said? $1,630?
$1,630.
Pay the money. Goodbye.
All excused. You may step out.
It was a jealous nightmare.
His unfaithfulness and his cheating and his liaisons with groupies on the tour bus actually was the breaking point of the relationship.
She really didn't like the whole idea of someone being out on the road.
He couldn't stay faithful.
Mọi người ơi, hôm nay thì chúng ta cũng đã hoàn thiện cho bức tranh rồi.
Và thành quả của mình đây nha. Cảm ơn mọi người đã cùng mình đón xem nhé. Video của mình đây là kết thúc rồi.
Các bạn ơi, hôm nay thì các bạn cùng mình sẽ cho bức tranh về cô bé này nha. Trước tiên thì chúng ta sẽ tô cho mái tóc nhé. Mái tóc thì khá là độc đáo này. Bây giờ mình sẽ tô đến chiếc vòng tay nha. Tiếp theo mình sẽ tô màu chiếc váy nha. đùa. Hai thì con gái kiểu